Welcome back to the UKLC. I'm still Viper and still joined by Jamara, and we're jumping into our second match of the evening. London Esports will be going up against Demise in a very important match, both these two teams for very different reasons.
Yeah, for London, just looking to stay above the rest of the pack. So many teams sat at that 5-5 mark. For Barrage now 5-6 after that defeat, but 5 wins still on the list. London sitting at 6, so if they can pick up a win here, pretty big deal. Opens up that gap to at least 2 games for multiple teams until they finish out tonight. And I mean, for Demise, really kind of just playing for pride, trying to avoid a 8th place finish at the very least. And yeah, it's not been a great split for Demise, but for London, have been one of our more promising teams. Looking like they can certainly finish out 2nd place in that regular split.
And we're going to see the two teams on 5-5 currently, playing later on with Bulldog and M&M Academy, both coming up against different opposition. So even more important for London Esports to grab this one, because if they lose this game and those two teams win, then suddenly there is still that big clump of teams, but they're all just 1 win higher than they were at the start of the day. So London Esports have been very, very impressive to me. They've come out, they won all their games last Super Week. This time around, of course, Resolve Tax.
Yeah,
but
it's like landing on income tax after you go around Monopoly.
Oh. I like to think it's more like going to jail. It's just that move directly to jail one. You just like move your piece, and then it's just like Artoris or Narva, just like chilling.
Yeah.
It's like, hello, have you got 200? Have you got a win on the UKLC to get me out of here, or are you gonna wait your turn? But they looked very impressive last week, and they didn't look so impressive into Resolve. But I think that's probably a no one looks that impressive into Resolve kind of thing, and they need to grab these wins where they can get them, because you want to be confirming playoffs as early as possible, then you want to be fighting for the top seed as possible, because avoiding Resolve in playoffs is actually going to be a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it is going to be a pretty big deal. You don't really want to get matched into Resolve in semis, I'll tell you that for free. You may end up losing out. So honestly, avoiding 4th place is kind of the thing for these teams fighting out in the middle of the pack. And like we say, for London, looking more or less like they should be landing in that 2nd or 3rd place spot, but nothing set in stone just yet, just because of the nature of the table. So many teams sat at that 5 win mark right now.
And a couple of games still to be played, but for Demise as well, as you said, playing for pride, playing to get off the bottom of the table. And I mean, there are still games to be played of League Legends, 4 matches left of the regular season. There is an opportunity for them to probably not push for playoffs. We're not going to get carried away, but survival could be a potential aim for them if they can pick up a good win here.
Yeah, I don't suppose it's off the table. 6 wins in total, if they were to win from here on out, certainly could push them above the relegation zone. But given the rest of the table, especially if Enclave win here tonight as well, in the game after this, then I really do feel like it might just end up being Envision and Demise that we see playing in those relegation series. Demise, at the very least, to keep their hopes alive, have to beat London here. It's a very tough ask. They've looked very strange in gameplay, to put it as politely as I can. Yesterday's game nearly sent me over the edge. Why have I just thought about it? I hate that I have. Look, I think Demise, they came into the split. They have a fairly talented roster, obviously. A lot of us do highlight Rifty, but Hiller's been playing well. He's had some. I was about to say consistently, but that would have been a lie straight through my team. He's had really good games, but then he's had really bad games. But I think if him and his jungler, whether it was Hankat or his previous jungler, whose name has foregone my mind, Fennec, when Fennec was here, when they played together in sync, played really well together, and Hankat and Pillar haven't quite been able to find that same level of synergy, unfortunately. And Zandra and Kuzi, they have their moments, but they've not really ever been given the opportunity to shine, it feels like, throughout the split, especially as rookies. Demise as a team haven't really put many resources into them. We are finally here, though, and to pick some balance.
We have made it. London Esports on the blue side, Demise on the red, and Panther going to be the first ban away. Olaf joining him, so no Olaf there for PFI, but keep your eyes on the Gragas and keep your eyes on the Fresh in the bans and early round picks, because London Esports have shown excellent mastery over both.
Yeah, especially with London banning out Pantheon, it does give Demise the opportunity to actually ban out both those champions for relatively free. It does mean that London could end up picking up Talia as a sort of a backup to the Gragas, but we are just going to see Kaiser moved away from then Voxney, of course. The light has been shone a lot on the AD carry of London, specifically on this Kaiser pick. He's been very, very strong. So just a pretty much comfort takeaway from Demise. And for London now, final ban, have to see, going to be that Seraphine. Don't want Pillar or Kuzi piloting. That one, very powerful champion in this meta, very annoying to play around.
Absolutely, very difficult to deal with, and we'll have to see where this last ban goes. Well, with the Uda, so actually, a couple of those stronger pickups. The Gragas could well be the first pick.
Be the Magic Crystal Ball.
I mean, I saw that one.
You saw it.
Not
Yeah,
Magic
if you
Crystal.
could see it, then there's no magic required.
I think, well, I mean, we were talking to Only Angel yesterday and saying this is probably the strongest first pick you can make in the meta right now. We know that London are happy to flex it to jungle as well, giving it that extra layer of flexibility and versatility. What can Demise answer here? They've got something like the Senna that we've seen a lot for our job, but it's going to be the Misfortune actually locked in.
Yeah, and fortunately for Demise, they are on red side, so they're going to be able to see whether or not London are going to put this Gragas top or jungle. And of course, still has the potential to flex bottom now. The one thing I have to say is that if Demise do lock in this Lilia, which they have now, it does give the opportunity for Hepe to just lock in his Thresh, and it also gives them Voxney a counter pick in the AD carry role, and off those two picks alone, London have effectively probably secured themselves bottom side priority, and they're gonna have the opportunity to then put the Gragas in the top side if they want to for a safe blind, then they'll have jungle counter pick. So Demise already off their response, potentially in a pretty big hole, depending on how London want to respond. We'll have to see what the lock-in is. Timer goes down, and there's the Jhin. So that's one answer into the bottom side of MF. And I mean, Hepe loves Fresh. Jhin is a very mobile AD carry. What does Jhin love? He loves safety nets. He loves safety tools. What does Fresh provide? Big old land. So if Hepe doesn't lock it in, I would honestly be quite surprised. And then it's kind of about what Demise can respond with. But actually getting a Syndra Hover, they're not going to pick up the Fresh now. Okay, that's honestly very, very surprising. Potentially, I suppose, scared of maybe the Nautilus matchup with the MF there, but it just seems like such a powerful pick for this London support that it should, I don't know, we'll have to see how the Syndra performs, but the immediate response in the Irelia for Pillar is going to be what's there for the Demise lineup. So they've got the AP jungler, they've got the AD mid. I don't think we've seen the Irelia come out of Pillar just yet. He has played likes of Yone before, so he does have the assassins in his kit, but you see immediately Demise, they throw down the respect. They say, okay,
they're like,
you've not locked in Fresh, you're not getting it anymore.
And it is interesting to see the Syndra being picked up before the Fresh, as you said, but we'll have to see what the idea is behind the spot pickup for London Esports moving forward. Of course, with the Fresh on the table, the Ornn also going to be removed, on to be giving that power over to Demise, and this draft seems a little bit less conventional than the ones we've been seeing in UKLC recently.
To traditional standards, I suppose so, yeah, but Demise have definitely had some funkier drafts, put it
True.
Like that, as Renekton back. So could be holding on to this Irelia as a potential flex. Shouldn't necessarily say that is immediately going to be in Pillar's hands, as I would imagine they will hold on to the flex of the Irelia and lock in a blind support, though this Maokai Hover would be pretty interesting if it were to be locked in. I'll have to see what Demise land on though, because you tend to make some pretty curious choices in the draft. Secretarius Hover as a little throwback to yesterday. Don't remind me that it happened, as Rel, I think honestly Rel slept on in this draft as well. With the Fresh gone, honestly, pretty safe blind pick. The only real thing Hepe should respond with is likely just the Alistar at that point, and then we just see where this Gragas ends up landing.
We'll have to see if it's going to be the jungle. It's going to be the Alistar locked in, as you said. So these Gragas will be going into the jungle or into the top lane, I believe. And it's going to be going top, as we're going to see the Kindred as the final lock-in for London Esports. Going to be taking that one into jungle for PFI. And now it's a case of Demise revealing where this Aurelia will be going as well. Could be mid, could be top. Which matchup would she prefer? We'll have to find out.
Yeah, let's see as the time ticks down. I imagine Irelia has an okay time into Gragas, but would probably prefer the Syndra lane. So I imagine we're going to see Rifties lock in here, as it's just going to be the set. So curious to see whether we get the tank or damage iteration of the champion, we do see both still pop up. Whenever we do see it, I feel like we've traditionally seen things like Stride Breaker into Blade King, or just, you know, straight up things like Chem Tank or Sunfire Aegis, which of course the passives got swapped around, so top lanes have been sort of swapping their preferred mythic. But we have the two drafts on our screen. I like what London are working with, particularly the sort of synergy with the Cask and the Kindred ultimate. Kindred lays down the ultimate, the Cask just gets thrown down to knock out all of the enemies from it. Can be very powerful, and especially when Demise most likely want to move forward with this draft. Having the Lamp Spite there as sort of a means to dissuade dives forward can definitely be a very potent tool.
And I mean, they've got mini versions of that as well. You've got the Headbutt from Alistair, you've got Scattered a Week even from Syndra, both are looking to clear people out of that respite if anyone from Demise tries to find a safe haven alongside that Kindred. But looking at the team comp that Demise has built as well, it's a very, very interesting one. Set and Aurelia, both of those solo laners. I mean, Aurelia's very, very strong pickup. How does it do into the Syndra? Because I can imagine this immobile mage maybe having a bit of a rougher time into an assassin.
Yeah, so Syndra, it's more on the Syndra player. I suppose to the same degree, depending on Pillar's proficiency on this champion. Honestly, Aurelia can win out in way more matchups than you'd probably imagine.
Yeah.
There are some of the more impossible ones. Things like Renekton are nearly impossible to win into, which is likely why we actually saw it removed away just in case.
That's true.
Just on the off chance that the Aurelia was going to be flexed into the top side. So yeah, Aurelia into Syndra. If Beely does misstep, he gets clipped by a flawless duet stun, then yeah, he certainly can get 1v1. If Pillar, it's more or less going to be Pillar's usage of his Blade Search, his Q, the dash to avoid some of the damage that Beely can put out, and most importantly, the Scatter the Weak. So very mechanical matchup. It's certainly the kind of playstyle Pillar prefers. As a stack. Oh my! Are we gonna get a level 1?
QZ moving around into maybe looking to dive over the wall. It's just Yep in there. The ward goes down, and that might dissuade the Alistair from going any further. So actually not going to see too much action, but Demise, I like your hustle. Getting that ward down and potentially being a little bit more proactive than other teams have shown, as the defense ward on the top side also placed by Demise to make sure that there are no incursions into their own top side jungle. Yeah,
so nice attempt at a proactive play. We've seen a lot of very creative level 1s this season, particularly coming out from the Dragon Pit, where you have, for example, if a red side team has Thresh, a lot of AD carry players like see them box and they like to sit in the tri-bush, so you'll just see a random death sentence fly into the bush to try and lock somebody up. And we also, of course, have the rock who can go over the wall, which we would have seen had Hepe not been in that bush, but very much presence of mind to sit in there. Walk away once you recognize he was in danger. Junglers starting on blue buffs this game, so likely to avoid each other come the end of their jungle clear. I believe this is a first play of the split on this Kindred for PFI. He's had quite a few games on that Gragas, of course. I don't know what else he's played, honestly. Gragas and PFI are just so synonymous with one another at this point.
And not the first time we've seen Kindred today, though, of course.
No.
The Rift the last time around, and King on that pickup looked pretty decent. The team obviously not going to be picking up the win in that one, but was definitely a decent performance for the Kindred. A champion that I'm enjoying seeing in the meta, because Kindred likes to be a little bit more aggressive, needs to be going for those marks, and yep, going to be a little bit more aggressive as well, getting some damage onto Zandra, who's going to be forced to back away under tower. There's a decent chunk coming through from this Jhin and Alistair early.
Yeah, very nice chunk, just abusing the level 2. Zandra stepped a little bit too far forward, so unfortunately for him, going to lose a fair chunk of his health bar. Going to eat up his health pot to try and make up for it, as Pillar's trying to gank PFI. Nice stun clips onto him. He actually got...
Just be careful, PFI's going to go down for first blood. Pillar securing that one, as Beely can only watch as his jungler dies, and very interesting play in the mid lane, but Demise come away with the victory.
Yeah, and not only that, Honkai, if he just presses tab, he's going to know what camp PFI has done, because he only had the blue buff, so you can see he's already immediately invading once his Raptor camp. He's going to take that one away for himself. So the lead is only going to extend further, as Pillar also picked up the blue, as we just said. Oh, okay, thought he was going to go for it there. Potentially very audacious play, as Honkai ruined the Raptor camp of PFI, and he's actually going to beeline straight to the top side skull because it is where the mark currently sits for the Kindred. So just denying that one away, and of course has his topside jungle camp there as Rifty on top side got a cheer reset. And just a very nice play from Pillar, honestly, just recognizing that he has the all-in threat. The PFI has that lethal there as Hepe definitely in fog. Whether Demise bot lane knows, they should know.
Well, I think they just spotted him a little bit there with that ward in the bush, and they definitely see him now. He's not the sneakiest of cows, as he does get the headbutt down onto Kuzi, maybe holding the pulverize, and will be able to land it. Stun going through from Denvox. There's PFI moves in as well. The knockup is used in an escape as the flash comes through as well. Rel will be healed up and will actually be able to walk away with their life. Kuzi able to survive that one, but very, very close to London getting a response in the bot side.
It's almost the 200 IQ bait play from Hepe there. Not quite able to find lethal onto Kuzi, so going to be able to flash away and walk out with his life. Nice creative play, but not quite able to find anything. And again, Harncart, he knows the respawn timers of PFI's jungle camps, and when he sees him on the bottom side, just immediately hops in. Got deep teleport coming from Rifty.
Teleport coming down as well. Denvox needs to be very, very careful alongside Hep, who's already gone successfully low. Kuzi will be taken down. It's 1-for-1 in the trade right now as Rifty might look to chase on. PFI coming through for the support, and Rifty cannot find anything else. So it is a 1-for-1 trade in the bot side, but Demise the ones who are putting more resources into it.
Yeah, Demise putting more resources into it. I mean, Rifty, he's going to miss some of this wave, but the key thing is that Harncart stole away some more jungle camps, second respawn jungle camps on the top side as well. You have to consider as just get a nice replay. Rifty with the deep teleport, coming off another reset, it seems like. Potentially just a wave crash. Takes down Kuzi. 1-for-1. The end result, but I don't feel like Demise are going to be too upset about it, as you can see this wave is finally crashed in by Merpillion, but Rifty's already here, so not even necessarily going to be missing out on much as London try and find a play on the pillar. Vision was there.
Denvox there happily in this bot side, chilling out, has got that first kill. Hasn't grabbed himself a back yet, hasn't grabbed himself a buy yet, so we'll have to see what kind of power can be added there in the mid side. Pillar and Beely on their way to level 6.
Yeah, Pillar's about to ding 6. I think that's why he's playing so aggressively right now, trying to catch out Beely with a surprise level up, I think. But Beely is going to hit 6 first, so has to worry about that unleashed power a little more. As we have to keep our eyes on the mid lane, certainly. The potential of just a snap ball in from this Irelia is very high. But Pillar does have the flash available to him, so he's going to be relatively safe, as Hepe's also here. This is what I was talking about.
Using the ultimate, and Hepe now going to move in, getting the knockup headbutt pulverize onto Pillar, who's going to be forced to take a tower shot as the teleport coming through. Beely unleashing the power as the damage comes through, but Pillar gets a nice stun and is looking to retreat. Members of London are in hot pursuit, but there is support here. Flash and dive to the dragon, which was actually started up by members of Demise. Pillar's going to be shot a couple of times, and now Hepe going to be the one that gets the dragon's ire. Harncart moving through, can't catch anyone, so no one goes down, and even the dragon stays alive.
Yeah, and during that all-in, Beely doesn't even blow his flash, just abilities there, as we actually had Merpillion teleporting in. It was cancelled by Rifty. Had that teleport come down, then we could have seen a more extended team fight from that dragon, but nice top laner able to keep his counterpart in lane, as he's actually moving down this blue buff. PFI still level 4, actually, as Rifty. We saw this yesterday, and the last time Rifty died for it. This time around, he's gonna live. He's gonna live, but he's gonna reset the blue buff as Harncart.
Doesn't have smite available.
Okay. Okay. Well.
Okay, a new challenger approaches.
It's like Demise live to attempt to make my hairline succeed.
I don't even get it. No, don't replay it.
Alright, I'm looking at not that feed.
The little box in the corner.
Yeah. Hide your eyes.
Well, they didn't lose the dragon, I say, as members of London have moved into the area to make sure that vision control is there so they can grab it in the future, but dragon is still standing as PFI on the top side hanging around, maybe looking to defend Beely a little bit and look towards this blue buff. And it's been pretty quiet. Hangcat no longer friends with the Dragon. Rift Herald is his new best friend. Moving up onto that top side, and we'll be starting this one up.
Pretty hard to die to the Rift Herald, Will. I'll tell you that.
I mean, it's not. I don't tend to die
it is
Dragon
it's
either,
possible to die at the Rift Herald. Oh, okay. They're not actually rotating. Just blue handle.
Quite a little blue buff.
Yeah. TFI is actually handily behind. Yeah. 20 CS down, 5 jungle camp. Nothing to turn your nose off at, as Pillar's looking for another roll in.
He dives in as the Alistair does, and the Unleashed Power will be burnt. Pillar trying to get away. Lilia goes bowling, but can't find the strike on Demise, who's going to be able to float to freedom on that one. Rift Herald was secured by Hangcat, should be said, so watch where that objective is being popped, and the mark spawning on the Rift Scuttle as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to feel pretty bad for Kindred, who is unable to pick that one up again.
Yeah, once your Observer, can we get... Oh, no, I think they're... Okay, Hepe looked like he wanted... Yes, you already know what I wanted to ask. He's got 0 stats. Oh, it's a sad game to be playing. Kindred in. London trying to commit numbers down to the bottom side, but there's nothing really there in. As Gold Lead has silently crept forward for Demise. I imagine most of this, the CS lead in the mid-jungle area, is why we see such a big deficit for the side of London, as it is being made up a little bit by Den Voxnay. Now, Kindred doesn't struggle with many dragons, so she's
especially with a little bit of support from Alistair, and Den Voxnay coming up just to make sure. They saw what happened to Demise and were like, right, this dragon's a tricky customer, get members in the area, and that's exactly what they've done to secure that one. But Demise, you say you have the gold lead right now, looking in the better position currently, have that Rift Herald as well, so there's gold lead in Potentia as well in the Lilia's pocket. So definitely keep an eye on her to see where she wants to donate that gold. Bot lane could be an option. Is there somewhere that you'd really like this Rift Herald to be dropped?
Yeah, I would really like to see it be dropped onto Pillar here. I think so far he's been having a pretty good laning phase. He's ahead of Vili in that CS department. He's been putting a lot of pressure down onto him, and Hunkart has flash. Speedy does not, so a very simple flash forward play to put Vili to sleep would quite literally put him to sleep back in the death chamber. So I feel like if you're Hunkart, you really want to try and get this Irelia ahead. The champion like this to kind of just let it sit there and farm up. So have to see, because sometimes you don't always get the optimal Herald usage. And Hepe has consistently found his way up towards the mid lane. He's always been shadowing BD whenever Pillar has the opportunity to all in. It feels like the Alistar is there to dissuade. And thought we might have had a skirmish with there. Both teams kind of eyeing each other up. Good to see the Herald dropped here, but okay, well, we'll see. We'll see how many plays they get.
Well, one was secured by the double before the Herald came down, and here comes the charge. We'll be able to grab a couple more as well for Pillar and Hugcut, so yeah, a healthy little chunk of gold.
Yeah, it's not bad. 240 gold. They'll definitely take it. The issue is that they don't really constantly have mid lane priority, so that's why Hepe has been so freely able to move over, sometimes actually just leaving Den Voxnay on his own devices, lane priority or not, because he kind of just feels like Den Voxnay can't get known by this Demise bottom side, as Hepe is pretty audacious positioning, but Cruzy recognizes that it was now his turn to vacate the area. And we just had the gold on our screens. Pillar handily ahead, Hunkart handily ahead. See how they put those to use, as top lane this game, unlike yesterday's game, not been much of focus, which I'm a little more happy about.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. London, they're looking for a 4-man dive.
Focusing, that's the headbutt pulverized onto 2. Kuzi going to get stunned up, taken low, and removed. The ultimate comes down as Hunkart getting to Sleepy. It's a slumber party in the Tri-Burst as Rifty's coming through to maybe try and break it up, but yet is still there. Set knocked on the tower. We'll be able to grab 2 of them, getting damage onto Dembox Nares yet. Actually go down to that tower shot, Rift picking up the kill as Hunka on the side is on top of Beely. No ultimate available though, but the burn is massive. Look at Pillar on the bot side though, jumping in, forcing the Lamb's Respite out of PFI, and the damage is going to come through. Pillar actually going to be the one who goes down though, as members of London are there to defend. Zandru going to be stunned up by the Jin. Damage coming down as Rifty looking to get that shield up, looking to survive a little bit longer as Hankat returns to the fight. We'll be able to secure a 1-for-1 trade as Mark goes down. The curtain has been called on this fight though, as Hankat and Zandru trying to dance away. Last shot, and it's going to hit neither of them. Demvox, they can't secure any finishing kills as both teams back away.
Every man for himself moment right there. Hankat didn't want to get hit by it. And I'm sure Zandru definitely didn't either. Gonna get a fast replay of that. It's a very nice immediate flash forward from Hepe to knock out both members. Zandru has the flash, and honestly, if that Magnet Storm goes off into the bullet time, it's danger hour for London. As you say, Slumber Party in the Tribush for them, but they're not actually taken down as Rifty, honestly, if he plays it different, he could have maybe picked up more members than he ended up picking up off the back of that. As you see on the top side of the screen, Hankat just runs down Beely. He was focusing on Pillar, attempting to take down PFI, but he wasn't quite able to. In the end, PFI makes out a nice little flash, but isn't quite able to survive once he returns back into the fight. Does end up getting picked up by this Swirling Seed. There you go. Dark Harvest stack and Papillion. Oh, that was an attempt on Zandru, and once the curtain call got called, I'm sure Zandru was calling, block it for me, and Hankat was like, no, you block it for me. Fortunately, then Boxney wasn't quite able to hit his mark that time, but not on the sacrifice.
And coming out of that play, 2,000 gold lead for Demise, as London look to secure the
first mark.
tower. And there's a mark being secured. Excellent stuff for PFI. We'll want to get a few more of those, but gotta start somewhere. And that Rift Scuttle is going to be good. And the Rift Herald as well on that side of the map could be secured by PFI. Kuzi behind, going to get discovered by Dembox there, and just alone, Rel isn't really going to feel too comfortable with that one. Hunkat's here though, and now Dembox Day could be in a lot of trouble. Is going to go to sleep, holding off the damage a little bit as Dembox Day gets chunked down, but so does Lilia. Hunkat going to be sniped up. The minions will go down. Can the Crocs supply the final damage? They can't, as Hunkat narrowly avoids a second death by a monster camp. Hepe, pretty speedy, running forward, building a China shot, manages to get on top of Kuzi instead. He will get shielded up. And Zandru this time around is happy to tank the way to freedom. Somehow Demise survived that play, but it was very, very close.
Very, very close. Pillar nearly clipping a stun there onto PFI. Has that Blade Ruin King and Sheen finished up, so he's got a lot of immediate burst damage up and available now. Demise actually, with that play going down, I'm not sure they can actually contest this dragon, despite the fact that they are quite far ahead of items right now. You can see Hankat has the Andres, Blade Ruin King finished up Pillar. Look at the other side for the mid jungle. There is no mythics finished up, and whilst yes, you could argue then Voxnay quite far ahead of Zandru. AD carry at 1 item versus a Irelia and a Lily at 1 item. I'm always going to take those two champions.
Absolutely the case, and things are looking very good at the current timestamp for Demise. You can look at the gold graph, it's been steady growth, steady acceleration in terms of that gold lead. And as you say, Lilia, Aurelia, 2 strong champions with decent amounts of items in their possession. And it's going to be hard for London Esports to contest, hard for them to fight over these coming objectives if Demise play them correctly. And that isn't to say that Demise have been playing all these objectives objectively correct, because we've seen some questionable plays from them, but they've found themselves elite, they've found themselves in a strong position, and now it's a case of where do they go from here?
Yeah, Demise, they are down 2 dragons. I think it's going to start to get tricky for London once they actually shove Irelia into the side lane, which they have for now, and she is temporarily going to be 2v1 as top laners really battling out Gragas, the tank fight. Promise you.
Right, this might not look like it, but engage coming through from the Alistair. Another tank as Lilia will be trying to put people to sleep. Goes gold and needs to be very, very careful. Won't even be able to use the lilting lullaby as he goes down. Nice shutdown for London on that catch, and absolutely no response anywhere from Demise.
Avert your eyes away. Pillar as London looking to put this Herald down. Curtain Call for a little bit of pressure. Pepe likely won't commit to a headbutt pulverize unless somebody majorly oversteps it. Just going to be that mid lane tier 1.
Gonna have to use pulverize actually to escape from the Aurelia. Pillar on the side was looking for stakes, wasn't able to find any, and will now be moving towards maybe a Jhin. And Roxanne does need to be careful as Pillar is haggard in the wings. The ultimate has been missed though, as Pillar now needs to be very, very careful. No flash available, will get rooted up, and here's the Alistair headbutt pulverize damage down. And that is a disaster from the mid laner from Demise, from what looked like a very, very strong potential engage. Turns into disaster.
Back to the death chamber, you Pillar. Oh, don't replay it. Oh no. He just. So the reason why he misses this ultimate isn't because he's bad or anything. It's just that he probably miscalculated how fast then Voxnail was moving because of the movement speed off of the Skull Crab. Just to keep some mathematics and reasoning there. Wasn't just expecting them to be that far forward. Just misses out on the Vanguard's edge. Now, fortunately for Pillar, he is actually still quite strong. As you can see, he's on his way to those items. That's the Divine Sunder, unless I'm mistaken. And those items are also Triforce components, but yeah, I haven't played enough Triforce champions to actually know, so I've got to figure out real soon. But on his way to his mythic, either way.
Yeah.
I imagine it has to be the Triforce. Yeah, I'm just gonna hope it's the Triforce anyway.
I'm pretty sure it's the Triforce.
Yeah, as
we could both be proved wrong though, very, very shortly when that one's picked up.
As Demise, honestly, I feel like they have to utilize how strong this Aurelia is in these skirmishes, and particularly Hancock. We've said time and time again how strong these two members of Demise are, but they've not really set themselves up on the side lane to be a menace to deal with so far. As Merp has taken chunks out of them. Demise's top laner, Rifty. Gotta be a little bit careful.
Ultimate being burnt by Mapillion, actually gonna try and look for the kill here. There's the belly, the damage going through the ultimate from Rifty and the flash to safety. Nothing that Merp can do to chase that one in, but very, very clean play from Rifty to get out of that one. Demise now looking to gain some control around the dragon. Will be spawning up very shortly, 40 seconds on the first mountain dragon of the game, which will be our soul for this second game. And Demise yet to grab one themselves, don't want to be giving up on this objective, but I'm more and more excited by the fact that this fight is about to kick off. Yep, going to get the headbutt pulverized. PFI picking up the first kill of the fight. Kuzi will go down pretty short order afterwards. You've got to imagine, but gets the stun down on 2 Beanie. There goes Rel as Rifty dives into the fray. Hancock looking to escape, won't be able to get away from the Jindo as Zandru's chased away there. Lounge Respite has been popped by PFI. Mapillion just hanging around with the CC, able to pick up the kill onto Set before he can do anything to Kindred. And it wasn't the fight over the third dragon, but will count it as the third dragon fight, and it was decisive for London Esports.
Yeah, very decisive, and all of a sudden the gold has swung heavily into London's favor. Demise, they just kind of look lost. I don't think there's any other way to put it. They haven't really set up Pillar outside of laning phase for success. Hancock hasn't really been shadowing him either. And right there, that mid fight, it kind of just happens off this positioning. Demise, I don't know if they were mid to try and force mid lane priority to then try and rotate into the river. They kind of just get caught out and sleeping as, just see there. Nice brute and CC all the way down. Pillar doesn't even really get to cast anything. As Kuzi, he attempts to buy some time. The bullet time was okay at zoning away members from funneling into the choke, but it's not really enough. Then Voxney is literally flashing forward 20 minutes into the game as an AD carry to pick up kills, as he's now finished off his third item. So if that doesn't tell you about how strong Voxney is, then I don't know what will.
Well, the next fight might show how strong Voxney is when he gets into range of some of these Demise players and shows them exactly how much damage this free item combo can do. Herald, Baron, Nasha actually on the map is yet looking to jump on to Pillar. Voxney is there as well. Can he get the damage down onto the Aurelia? Another ultimate missed, and Pillar gets 1-2. Reload for the third shot, and there's the kill going over to the Jhin in short order. Beely not able to pick up the kill steal in that one, but we'll now be moving down towards mid lane to get involved in the second episode of this fight. Mapillion looking to get the engage down, will land it onto Rel. The slow comes through as the stun comes down. looking to chase on. No opportunity for a decent ultimate though, and decent explosive cast. Hunger will be chased down by PFI, get some damage down, little too lullaby available, but not going to be popped as the Lilia is happy just to skip away. Devox not very interested in this fight though. He's staying in the top side, has got himself a tower and is pushing on to the second. Demise will have to respond, but yet is standing between them. There's a big Alistair between the opportunity to defend that top side, but he's actually just gone to pick up Devox because he wasn't answering his phone for this team fight mid, and that's a sports job sometimes. You've got to just make sure that Devox knows where he needs to be, and here's the damage coming down, getting towards the rail. Not going to be able to land the snare though, and forcing him to back away. A decent fight, all things considered, for London Esports, but could have maybe looked for a little bit more.
Could have definitely found a little more, but end result still is London remain ahead. Didn't really blow too much, or actually anything really. As Pillar has, outside of lane, been unfortunately a little underwhelming. Some of it up to mechanical faults, but at the same time, Demise haven't really set him up for a lot of success post the 15-minute mark, so very strange to see him look quite strong out of laning, and then all of a sudden, do they know he's there? Oh, they do now.
They definitely know. Pillar going to get stunned up, but there's a lot of CC and a decent amount of damage coming through onto Demise's mid lane. Will land the ultimate though, and members are coming through from Demise. London do not really have the damage to get the kill quickly, and with Hunk up there, they might not have the damage at all. Lilia going to turn up to make sure Pillar survives that one, as Demise will be forced to back away a little bit. Devox they hear now, the damage has arrived. Not going to be able to get anything off though, needs to be careful himself about re-engages from the likes of Set and Durrell. But that play ends with no bloodshed, at least no killing bloodshed.
No harm, no foul.
Ooh, there could be a foul here. As a nice knock up to Nice Kuzi and engage onto Devox. He's going to try and put the damage down. Has to reload though, as Alistair needs to be careful. It's a 4v2 right now until members of London Esports heed the call and arrive to the fight. Rifty getting a massive shield, but isn't going to be able to dive under the tower of Pillar. You can see on your port side also chilling around, but with PFI and Mapillion turning up as well. That's the sign for Demise to leave. Teleport coming through from BB as well though, so it's definitely that London Esports are looking for something. Baron is the thing on the top of your screen, and they're going to be starting that one up. Yep, hanging around on the side on the Alistair, maybe looking for a flank engage if members of Demise decide to contest. BB is hanging around as well. This can be a bait as much as it's a play for the actual objective, as Kuzi and Zandru step forward. Nice double pulverize coming through, and Zandru is left very, very low. It's actually going to be Alistair who goes down though, as Hunker dives into the back of the fight. Will have to go golden and gets the sleep down. The respite is here as Hunker diving through. Devox, they kiting away, will be stunned up, will be dragged back into the fight, and is still in full retreat. Here by Mup, also very, very low. BD full health, but Rifty stops that curtain from falling almost immediately just by his sheer presence. Demise don't lose any members and manage to stop the Baron.
Guys,
in fact, they can start it themselves. Beely moving forward, full health on the Syndra, looking for a good scan of the week. Does not have the ultimate available. PFI is here now as well. Devox coming through as well. No ultimates being available here though, as Merp looking to get back into the fray. Going to be chugging on that barrel and looking for the engage. Members go so low as Huncut has to flee. Kuzi gets the engage but doesn't get the knock up, just goes down. Rifty dives into the backline. 3 members of London Esports. Can he cut down one? He gets one. He looks at PFI. He can't do it just yet. Does manage to secure that final punch as Mapillion in full chase. Zandru the one getting the kill onto PFI in the end, as London Esports have a couple more members at the fight right now. Can chase Rifty away, can chase Zandru away. Baron is not secured by either team, but the fight was pretty intense.
It was intense, but the soul's just going to be picked up by London. I don't know. Demise, very strange decision making to try and turn onto the Baron there. Best case, you take it off the map, sure, but you almost always get wiped, irregardless of the fact that London don't have ultimates available to them. No one has flashes available. Everyone had flashed in that prior skirmish to the Baron, so once they were on the Baron, they're committing onto it, they're almost always going to be stuck in the pit. As this is the original engage, very nice scatter the weakens headbutt pulverize. The response from Demise is actually pretty good, in all honesty, but it's the overchase after this. The Lamb's Respite actually ends up being more or less Demise's Lamb's Respite, keeping them healthier and alive in the fight, as the curtain call does get called, but is interrupted. And once Demise are on this barrier, it just doesn't make sense as to why you would turn back onto this. And yes, it's a very nice ultimate from Rifty to then take down 2 members, but no one else can follow up because of the body bag that is Merpillion on this Gragas. There's just too much CC to actually walk through. And because of the timing of the fight, just give up Soul on the back end. It's just very strange, very, very strange. And now London can just reclaim territory over this Baron area. As you can see, Demise don't have a ward past the red buff, I don't think. They have that one blue ward which is going to be cleared out in a second. So there is literally, it is complete dark. Well, have they started up the Baron? Oh, someone
They haven't, no. It was procced because PFI dived over with his Q, which obviously damaged the Baron. And now Kuzi has managed to get a ward down into the pit, but things looking worrying for Demise. They have fights left in them, though. They can definitely go toe-to-toe if they take the correct fight and the correct play, but sometimes this game, it has been the incorrect play that they've gone for, and it's a little bit concerning. They still have tools, they still have damage, they still have a decent front line as well if they can utilize it. But I'm skeptical whether they'll be able to, seeing how this game has played out so far.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I think Demise had yet again another composition which, you know, it's cool to watch, but it's not cool to watch if you don't make it work or you don't put time and effort into making the champions work. Yesterday we saw the Darius come out from Rifty, and Hankart effectively just left Rifty on an island into Gragas. Didn't really abuse that matchup at all. Didn't use the pressure that he had in that top side. And of course there was also some fault to Rifty. We spoke about some of his wave management, particularly in the earlier levels. Wasn't too good as...
Zandra gets chunked, and yep, headbutts him over the wall. Nice stun there to keep the Misfortune alive, and the second curtain shot can't be used. The teleport comes in from Rifty, once again denying that one as Hunka takes a big chunk. Merp looking for the engage, can't land the belly bot, but can land the damage, and it's a very, very deadly statue form or not. Feely picking up the kill, and once again London feeling confident to move towards this Baron. Might not start it up just yet. Will be clearing out vision, and there you go. Baron being started. 4 members of London Esports are on top of it, yet hanging around on the side, getting rid of damage, getting rid of potential wards, potential opportunities for Demise, and they're moving forward, trying to contest, but Baron's already gone, and now the double stun comes through. They're going to be able to dunk Alistair back in. Rifty gets on top of Demvox there, but the denial of the Misfortune on it is very, very big. Zandru has no damage left in him as PFI chases away and gets the kill onto Rel. There's the Lamb's Respite to make sure that PFI feels comfortable as Pillar dives back in, but isn't going to be able to get anything. Zandru actually wins the fight on the backside against the Kindred, but that is all she wrote. London Esports pick up the Baron buff. It's on 4 members, and they take the fight as well.
Yeah, that could have been effectively a delayed ace. PFI kind of misplaying on the top side. I was keeping my eye on that one whilst you were shoutcasting the rest of the fight, and honestly, yeah, Demise, unfortunately for them, with Hankart going down, the result is Baron buff in the pockets of almost all members of London, and they should at the very least be able to open up the base. Only Zandra and Hankart here to defend. There's not really a lot of wave clear between the two. They are gonna commit onto this Herald, onto this Nexus. Oh, it's not the Nexus. The
Inhibitor?
Yeah, got there in the end. As gonna retreat for now, bide their time. They know they are in a relatively commanding position. Don't overforce anything, because Feely's just going to fully the Skull Crab very quickly, and we're gonna get a replay. This one, the Baron is done before anybody from Demise can even get into the pit. Kuzi does engage in, finds a nice amount of CC, and the bullet time does spread London relatively thin, i.e. just PFI on the top side, but Rifty diving forward into 3 members, particularly we saw how much damage them Vox Naked out, which wasn't enough. A heroic attempt from Pillar, but unfortunately Alistar is a champion who deals very well at healing divers like Irene with so much mobility. Point and click CC is very oppressive.
Ooh, I've seen this one before though. Merp going to get the initial damage down on the CC. Teleport coming through from Syndra though, as Beely is going to join in. Hunkut goes bowling and won't be able to find too much there, but you can see members of London Esports are moving forward. Merp still chasing. We'll be able to catch onto Hunkut with members from all directions, and the Gragas not even needed to pick up the kill there. Beely will secure it on the Syndra. And members with Baron buff are going to bring the minions in. London Esports happy to get the siege down on this inner tower. Kuzi has shown up, but it's a little bit too late to defend this one, and it will become rubble. London Esports stepping forward further, feeling confident to move towards this inhibitor tower. Will they be able to secure it? Denbox is absolutely melting through, and now the fight has kicked off. Kuzi's already gone down. PFI picking up that one as Mert moves forward. Looking for Rifty on the back, though. He's managed to catch out Beanie, gets the dunk back, but in the rest of the fight, it's all London Esports. Zandru's the next target, as Rifty will be surrounded on all sides. He'll be forced down, as Zandru can't strut away, making it rain, but the curtain's being called, and the snipe is delivered. London Esports pick up the inhibitor, might pick up 2, and could pressure towards the Nexus.
Yeah, they certainly can look to end the game here, Will, and whilst... okay, well... whilst London, yes, they had to pay their resolve tax this weekend, they're going to return to winning ways here versus Demise. Demise almost certainly now going to be finishing in the relegations with this loss here. Very dominating performance from London, and again, Demise kind of left scratching their heads on to how to make these drafts work, because whilst I don't think this is necessarily a terrible draft, they have an Irelia, and they just don't put the time and effort and resources into allowing that to actually flourish. And post-laning phase, he kind of just walked to sides and died and got called out by London members. There was no vision being placed down. Harmcart was never there shadowing him. It was just very curious mid-game, honestly, coming out from Demise. But all credit to London, of course, securing now their second place. 2 wins over the rest of the teams, tied at that 5-win mark. Still, of course, a couple of teams left to play tonight, though.
Yeah, have got themselves that 2-win gap, but Bulldog have to still play. M&M Academy still have to play. So they might be closing that one out as well. But Demise, it was worrying performance from them. They had, you said, the tools. Pillar early game was playing very, very well, and they just weren't able to play particularly well around that pick.
Yeah, that's kind of it. Like you draft an Irelia, especially mid lane, you have to give it the time and the space to actually start to dominate the 1v1s, and they just never really put Pillar in those positions where he could do that. And after the laning phase, he just didn't look threatening anymore.
Absolutely. We're going to be jumping to a short break, but when we come back, we're going to be joined by Beely from London Esports, who will talk us through that game. We're going to break down that victory for London Esports. Remember, if you want to get involved in the conversation, make sure you tweet at us hashtag UKLC, and your tweet might even be featured on the show. So we're going to jump to a short break. When we come back, it'll be Beely talking about that victory. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Nothing is as it seems. I feel like I'm in a dream, but that's where I wanna be. And I feel free for the first time. And I feel free for the first time. For the first time. For the first time, for the first time, and I feel free for the first time, and I feel free for the first time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the UKLC. I'm Viper and joined by Jamada, and we're just going to drag Beely in immediately after that victory against, I was going to say against London Esports, but you're on London Esports. It was up against Demise. Massive congratulations on the win, though. You happy with the performance?
Yeah, actually, no, I am very happy with the performance. We recovered from a pretty dire early game, in terms of mid lane anyway, so proud of my teammates for sure.
And it's been very impressive seeing the change in London Esports over the past couple of weeks. Of course, early in the split, consistently inconsistent was the way we were describing it with those 1-1 weeks, but a clean sweep last time around. You lost to Resolve yesterday, but you're back on form today. What's changed within the London Esports camp?
I think we've just had the time to gel together that we needed. At first, we're all, other than me and Rafa, I think we haven't played with each other for a while anyway. So we needed to work on our communication and stuff like that, and it's getting progressively better, and I think you can see that it has ramped up. But the Resolve games, we put them out of our memory because we got a bit turbo stomped. But other than the Resolve games, if you look at our gameplay, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, I think with that win now, you're 7-5, 7-6, 7-5.
I think we're 7-4.
Oh yeah, 7-4 even. So, Monday, tomorrow, I believe we've got Eminem. I think the remainder of your games, Enclave, and I'm just looking for it, Bulldogs. So, all of these teams, depending on how Enclave obviously finish out in their next game, right below you, technically. Especially if Enclave win, they're going to be tied 5-5. It's looking like you're most likely going to be one of the teams finishing in the top 4 for playoffs. Given how close it is, fingers crossed, given how close it is, do you have any sort of favorites you feel you're going to end up seeing taking up those 2 final spots?
Yeah, I definitely think Eminem are up there. The way they play the game is a bit frustrating in a way, because they're just like, if they start losing in terms of macro, they just 5 mid, fight us or lose, and they're pretty good at that. So I think they'll be up there. I'd be a bit surprised if I saw Enclave up there. I think they've had pretty bad performances. I'm just going to say it. And I think Bulldogs actually are looking pretty solid. They had a rough patch, storming, but they're looking good now. So maybe Bulldogs.
Absolutely. And final question from us. Looking forward to the rest of those fixtures that Jamal described and looking forward to playoffs. Are there any teams that you're particularly scared of facing?
No, you can't go into a game thinking you're scared of playing against a team. No, there's no teams I'm afraid of facing. The better teams I play, I actually get more excited to play against.
Okay.
So, yeah, if you start psyching yourself out, it's never a good thing.
That's interesting. That's a great attitude to have going into game. Beely, massive congratulations on the win and good luck going into tomorrow's match as well.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
As we said, I say coming off every interview, I love the confidence coming out of the players that we've got here in the UKLC, and very, very interesting to talk about that kind of mentality. You have to go with a winning mentality, even against the better teams, and being more up for the challenge when you go up against those better ones is definitely going to put London Esports in a good position moving towards playoffs, which they're not confirmed yet, but they're in a very, very strong position, and they had some very, very strong plays in that game. Jamada, why don't you break one of them down for us?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to have the pretty topsy-turvy Baron fight. Now, I actually haven't gone through this clip, so I don't know how long it runs. So bear with me on this one, because it is, if it's the full length, it's quite long. So, first thing, we have Denvoxne. Channeling his Hex Flash. He's got a potential flank angle onto multiple members of Demise here, and we're going to see Beely just cast Scout of the Week onto both of these members in Zandru and Kuzi, and potentially Pillar as they enter the river. So we'll get the clip going, and you'll see the Hex Flash channels through, Scout of the Week lands straight into the Headbutt Pulverize combo, and it's just almost immediately Zandru has to exit the fight. And then from here, Uncart flashes forward, he casts the Sleep, and he does actually manage to get the Zhonya's off this time. But the rest of the Demise, you can kind of look at the health bars. It's relatively difficult for them to move forward at the moment. Bullet time is cast by the Misfortune to try and make something work. But you're going to see, as the Demise actually walk forward, it's London that have to retreat out of the Lambda Spy, and it temporarily becomes a fight where you think, okay, actually, Demise can win this one. Even though Zandru is now forced out, it can be something where if Demise move forward enough, you can see the health bars of London just trickle down. Pillar isn't able to, unfortunately, find any blade surges onto them, and Rifty forces all of the London members away and out of the Dragon Pit. But this is kind of where things get shaky, because now Demise actually opt into the Baron, And I'll get a pause in here and we'll talk about ult economy. Rifty has his ultimate coming up. We have this ultimate coming up. We have the Vanguard's Edge still available, but everything else for Demise is down. And on the opposite side, for London, there's nothing. So I feel like this is the reasoning as to why Demise felt that it was actually a good idea to try and take up this Baron pit. They have the numbers advantage, Chepe is dead, but you will just play it out and see how it goes, because Merpillion bases, teleports back to the fight, and honestly, the health bars just slowly get churned away at by this Baron. And Demise, they make a good effort of it, trying to turn back out of the pit, but it's honestly just not quite good enough. You see Merp almost takes down Pankart, Cruzy basically dies to the Baron, and this is when you start to think, okay, maybe if Rifty can pick up members off this play, this could be a positive outcome for Demise. But unfortunately, you're going to see Merpillion block out Pillar from entering the fight, and whilst Rifty does take down 2, it's not really enough for this to be a positive outcome for Demise. And because of the very precarious timing of this sort of Baron turn attempt, the Mountain Spawn comes up, and it's just an immediate soul pickup once London come back out onto the map. Demise don't have the timers in their favor, they don't have the numbers in their favor, and with the soul in pocket, London were effectively able to just turn back to the Baron and eventually take it down for themselves.
And now that we're getting towards the later stages of the season, we're starting to get these results through, these kind of confirmations of positioning. So Resolve are confirmed to be first seed, top of the table for regular season. They actually confirmed it yesterday with their win over London Esports because of the head-to-head, meaning that any tiebreakers would go their way, but have confirmed no tiebreakers, top of the table, just on score now with that result. And very, very interesting one for Demise as well. They're not in a good position. If Enclave win their next matchup, we believe that it is going to be Demise guaranteed in relegation, but due to the head-to-head between Enclave and Demise. If Enclave lose this next matchup against M&M Academy, it's going to mean that Demise have to win the rest of their games, including the one against Resolve, in order to avoid it. So things not looking so great for the Reapers right now, but there's still a chance until the next game if Enclave win it. And we're going to find out if there is a chance. Enclave up against M&M Academy is our next game, so don't go anywhere. We'll be into it in a couple of minutes.